experiences. Each experience we face prepares us for the next. This is true even when that experience is harsh or negative. Many years ago, I faced such a situation when life threw a curveball at me. But instead of shrinking away from it, I faced it. I emerged from it, and I kept moving. Each experience, like the petals of a rose, unfolded. And as each one unfolded, there was a new realization. Friends, it is a story about a rebel and how he discovered the essence of life. The redemption, the renewal, the rejuvenation from this seemingly lost man. It was in the year 2006. I was living in Austin. One day, I came across a newspaper article about Jugal Bhuyan, a young man from my hometown in India. Jugal was once involved with an armed insurgent group. But after giving 5 years of his life to that group, he realized his folly and then redeemed himself by taking the path of serving poor and underprivileged. I was so moved by the story that I decided to pay him a visit during our family vacation to India. But when I reached home, some of my well-wishers told me not to go there. Unfortunately, the stigma of his past became an albatross around his neck. But I didn't agree. He was someone who had redeemed, and he had been doing commendable job for the community. I chose to visit the residential school and an orphanage established by Jugal. There, I met those children abandoned by society, now being taken care of by Jugal and his staff. I witnessed firsthand the tremendous dedication of this man. The school, situated in a countryside, was abandoned with natural beauty. I was enthralled to see a rose garden, a place taken care by Jugal with utmost care and affection. The sight of the rose bloom struck me as I was handed down a flower from the garden. I smiled and held on to it. Like this veritable rose, this man emerged and a new bloom. He caused suffering to people, but his genuine tears showed that he had redeemed. He learned his mistakes, lessons from the mistakes he made. But he did not wither. He rose from the ashes. He turned his life around and became a role model to many. After returning to the United States, I decided to promote his cause by reaching out to our community. I planned a fundraising and an awareness campaign about Jugal and his orphanage. However, the prevailing situation was not favorable. The September 11 terror attack was still fresh in people's mind. Some of the community members questioned the rationale of supporting someone who had a violent past. It seemed society would not give Jugal a second chance. I was disheartened and soon overpowered with doubt cynicism, disillusion. The radiant rose within me, withered and fell away. I decided to call Jugal to let him know that I had failed. It was a long distance call, but his voice was loud and clear. Brother, I only need your love and affection. Money is not that important. I'm grateful to you for talking to me. The conversation left me dumbfounded. This man had suffered tremendously, but he did not let his bitterness break his spirit. He only found goodness in me. I just needed to find the goodness in others. His words set me free, and I renewed my fundraising campaign with renewed vigor. In the year 2006, I attended our community non-profit annual meeting where I delivered a speech about Jugal, how he turned his life around, and how we too can show our innate capacity to forgive. In the year 2008, I ran the Austin Marathon and raised $5,000 for the orphanage. In the year 2009, the chief minister, the highest executive in my home state in India, visited Jugal school. And the story of the transformation of a rebel into a reformer was published in all major national and regional newspapers. In its milestone, I experienced growth and blossoming. I transformed from someone who struggled to run a single mile into a marathon runner. Someone who never wrote outside of his office into a newspaper writer. Someone who feared public speaking into a public speaker, a Toastmaster. Friends, I'm complete. Jugal Bhuyan passed away in the prime of his life. But for me, his life lessons remain alive over the years. He teaches me the healing power of forgiveness every day. Friends, Jugal Bhuyan did not die. People like him do not die. We all have choices to make. The path of doubt, fear, cynicism, or the path of conviction, courage, optimism. I learned from Jugal which path to choose. Friends, life is not easy, and life will throw you a curveball. What matters is which path you choose to follow. Friends, follow the path of greatness. Let's soar higher, stronger, further. Let's be a radiant rose.